Wow, thank you so much for sharing. That is so freaking cool. 13 contacts and 2 leads yesterday. Thank you for your help. You do not have to thank me. You actually took action. I just want everybody to realize if you don't get on the dialer and you don't make these calls, you're not going to get leads. And it's the cheapest way. It's either time or money. And when I really, really broke it down, because I used to pay Google pay-per-click ads. I used to pay Facebook ads. I know people who pay like realtor.com and all these other companies, even Zillow. I never did Zillow, but it's like time or money, right? And if you're starting as a new agent and you don't have that time, I mean, I would only recommend purchasing leads if you like already have a ton of money as it is and you can invest. But as starting off, it's better to just spend the time and just talk to strangers and you get leads. You get leads, guys, and you get listings. It's so amazing how you guys are getting leads so quickly, but obviously you can see like I get a lead almost every day, if not two, like rarely do I get zero, but it's okay on those days you don't have leads because then all you know is it's fine. Tomorrow I'm gonna get one or the day after. I use Mojo for everything. My dialer, my CRM, my tracker. Really when it comes to CRM, I keep everything here for my follow-ups. It's where I get my leads. I don't call FSBOs. I don't get a call expires. I feel like maybe there's coaches that teach circle prospecting, but I don't really know how they do it. I have kind of heard roughly their spiel, like what they say at the beginning, and it's not my vibe. It's not really what I'm looking for. It feels a little too salesy for me. At the end of the day, make the call and just like have a nice casual conversation with a homeowner and see if they need help. Right? Like we're not here to convince anyone. And I'm getting started making circle prospecting calls. Awesome. Actually, I'm so happy you tuned in. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to find her. Okay, so I'm originally born and raised in Central California, moved to LA, and then I lived in Beverly Hills, Westwood, West LA, Santa Monica. And I moved to South Florida 5 years ago. I came here with no sphere. So just so you guys know, when they're like, call your friends, call your family, tell everyone you're a realtor. I didn't have that. There's like, we're by ourselves here. But there's this one girl I'll never forget. She did an interview with Vulcan 7, the other dialing company, and she was out of El Segundo, California. And she was all about circle prospecting. And she was the one who I originally got motivated to dabble into the Vulcan 7 neighborhood search. But I realized you only get 50 people at a time. And I felt it was very disorganized for me. Like I couldn't really organize the data and it was just too overwhelming. So I quit. But I remember she was talking about how she was making a lot of money and she was making like 400,000 a year. And then she had a baby. So then she had to like figure out how to balance life. And then I kind of stopped following her. You'll notice circle prospecting works. It's just a long term, but the beautiful part is it's exponential and you have a growth like this. Like it just starts to take off if you do circle prospect and it's, and you're consistent. Consistent is key. Yeah, you know what? Let me see if I can find her. I feel like she's on YouTube, like a little, I wonder if I Google like Vulcan 7 El Segundo Realtor Circle Prospect or something. Let me think. I'll find it. I'll get it back to you guys. Sergio, we love Mojo. Yes, I tried Vulcan. It just didn't work for me. I'm a very organized, simple person. Just wasn't as simple. I think it was very fancy and I just couldn't. What was I gonna say? Okay, yeah. So if they give you like a rough idea, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell in 2, 3 years, or I'm gonna sell in a year or two, then that's good. Like, but if they just say, oh, I'm going to eventually sell, oh, I don't know, maybe one day, that's a little too vague. Then that just really means that they're not thinking about selling. Or if they're kind of like, yeah, maybe one day I'll sell, that kind of attitude, that's not a lead. If they're like, what else was it? one day I guess if I get what I want, like a number, and sometimes they'll be like, "Well, if you give me a really good offer, like, I don't know, 700,000, yeah, I'll sell." They're just messing with you. They're not serious whatsoever. Like if you go back to some of my leads where they like give me an idea of them selling, like, "Oh yeah, we are actually thinking about it like in a couple years or so," it's because something's going on in their life. They're obviously not gonna tell you all the details, but something's going on. So if they told you in a year or 2, that's great. The hot lead, they want to sell because they hate it here. That's a little rough. That's kinda sucks, that they wanna sell because they hate well, maybe, I guess, during the pandemic, maybe they bought and then didn't realize, and then like, "Oh, what did we do?" Which I understand. I would probably want to eventually get closer. I would probably eventually wanna dig further for them just to figure out, like, "Okay, I understand you don't like it here, but do you have an idea of where you wanna go next?" Because if they don't have a plan of where they're gonna go next, then that's harder for them to make the move. They might just put up with it and just end up staying after all. If they know for a fact they wanna go somewhere, it's okay if they haven't invited you to come look at the house. They probably need, like, a couple months, a month or 2, even if for a hot lead, that can easily end up still being, like, 6 to 10 months out because they probably have other priorities that they have to line up in order to make that jump, whether it's preparing the house, waiting for a child to finish school, maybe, they're waiting to get, like, a job offer from somewhere, maybe they're interviewing. I have buyers like that right now that I'm helping. Um, it's been a whole process. I've been talking to them since, like, December, and I'm still 4 months later, and we still haven't bought something. So, I would say dig further, but it's okay. So, I would say don't put too much weight on your leads either guys, because I could easily say I have 100 leads, but I'm not gonna sell all 100. If I can still sell 10% of that, then I have 10 listings. Terrific. It's a funnel. So we call, we talk to people, we get leads, we get listing appointments, we get listings. So even if we have those 6 leads, you're probably only going to sell one, if maybe none, who knows. But if you just keep following up with them and make sure like you start qualifying them over time to make sure they are serious, then just keep following up with them, because then maybe one pops off this year, 2 pop off next year, and then the other, maybe 2 of them decide to stay. So you're not going to convert every single lead. Just keep that in mind. But maybe Lady Noel, like, start nurture. So I would say you put them in your phone, you sent them the text, you sent them the handwritten note card, you followed up, asked them if they got it. Go ahead and start creating market reports for each of them. Um, and then try to follow them on try and Google them and follow them on some social media platforms. The great thing about you is you do have a lot of pictures. I don't know if those other people allow you to repurpose their own images so that way you can start looking like you have listings, or be like, "Oh, look at this nice new beautiful home," or something. Nancy said, "I tried Vulcan neighborhood search was not yeah, it was just not it was like, it's just not the same. It's not the same. I just did not like the fact that they limit you on like 50 people. Like, I call 50 people so fast. Want to hear a funny story? So my husband and I went to a birthday party last night with a friend, and there's a bunch of people there. And there was this one person I had door knocked a really long time ago when I did that whole door knocking thing. And I know her and her husband sold a house and then like bought a house in the same neighborhood. And she started coming up with excuses of why she didn't use me, which I thought was hilarious. And then she started trying to tell me how to do my business. And she was like, "Oh, Adela, you have to understand, like, the realtor we chose is a childhood friend." And it was so funny because I was like, "I didn't ask you. Like, I'm fine. I didn't even, like, you're the one who brought all of this up." about how you remembered me door knocking and why she just decided not to use me. And I was like, it's okay. And then she's like, what you really need to do is reach out to people who don't actually have realtor, who are friends or family. And I was like, I'm good. Like, that's exactly what I do. She's like, oh, you do? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, like, I'm good. You don't have to tell me or explain to me why you didn't use me. I didn't have, like, I'm not butthurt that you didn't ask me. Like, we don't really know each other. It's okay, which I'm totally fine with, because at the end of the day, I would rather work with people who know, like, and trust me, and who I have been like a professional. They know I'm a professional. I've been keeping them up to date on the market. I do a really good job with all my marketing. I'm just like above and beyond in terms of like service. And then they're so happy that I even cold called them. And like it shows how hardworking I am, the hustle. And then it's so funny because so many times after I sell their house, they're like, oh my God, and to think you cold called me. It's so amazing. Thank you so much. If you hadn't called, I wouldn't have known who to hire. I would have to look for someone. And you've been so wonderful and you followed up with me for a year. Like, people know, oh, I'm going to move in a couple years. I'm going to move in 3 years, 5 years, or not at all. Make sure they don't have a realtor. It's great to figure out if they kind of know where they're going, but obviously you guys know that I don't always ask that. But over time, I do, as I nurture and as I start talking to them over time, I do try and get that information as I have like my casual conversations. And sometimes I'll even, you know me, I throw myself under the bus when in these conversations. So sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm so silly. I failed to ask you, like, when you do sell, did you already have somewhere to go, or did you need more time to figure that out? And they'll tell me, "Oh, no, I bought a house. Oh, no, I'm moving in with, my daughter and her family to help her out with the kids. Oh, no, I actually have a second home," or, "Oh, actually, it's my parents' home. I'm gonna move into theirs. They passed away and I kept it, so I need to sell this one." Like, a lot of the times they know, or in some cases, they might say, "No, I actually need to, look, I'm actually traveling to that next destination and I'm actually already house shopping. So once I buy a house there, then I'm going to list this one." So usually over time, like, you can get that out of them. And I prefer it that way, because then that way I'm not interrogating them on the first call, if that makes sense. Right? Someone called me back twice yesterday, I picked up and they ripped me apart verbally. I know, that's why I hardly answer those. I mean, all of you can try it just to see what we are referring to, but when you get these callbacks, so when I dial from Mojo, I put my phone on do not disturb, because these people call back and it's insane how a lot of them are kind of crazy, like the attitude. And so it's funny because I get really aggressive with those, Rachel. I'll just answer and I'm like, hello. And they're like, who is this? I'm like, who's this? I'm like, you called me. Yeah, I had a missed call. I'm like, so you just call people when you have a missed call? But I also will like answer and then just hit the mute button and then like throw the phone, and they will like legit be shouting for 2 minutes on their own, or they'll go like, hello, 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 hello for a minute or two. I'm like, why is this person not hanging up? Like, they just go on and on. It's insane. But I still answer them because it helps, like, with the phone from going to spam. So I totally get it, Rachel. Been there. I get it. Yeah, that's my problem. I'm worried that I'm gonna be too pushy, so I'm trying to figure out a timeline with the leads. Yeah, so obviously you guys know I'm not pushy at all. I'm not aggressive. I just come more from like a helpful mentality perspective and a way more friendlier professional approach. So I would say, once they become a lead, you do not need to start calling them every month. I did that and then I felt like it was too much. And so I kind of backed up, especially if they're a year or two out. I would probably just every like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. But you want to do the front work first, because if it's a text, if it's um, the handwritten note card, sending them on social media, because then they see you. Like, it's a touch. It's all about touches, as they call it in marketing. You want to have a certain amount of touches before someone converts. So if you have like a year of span to do like all these different touches with them, you do, what is it again? You spoke with them, you texted them, handwritten note card, and then you text them again. That's already 4. So if it takes like 11, you've already done 4 out of the 11 within a 2-week span. So it just kind of speeds up to get to those 11 touches. And then over time, you're just dropping little golden nuggets, and you're not really bothering them, because when you reach out to them, you're either just providing them with a little like, hey, did you know this one sold? Hey, did you see this one just came on the market? And that they will not find irritating, because what are they going to do? Oh, Lady Noelle, leave me alone. Don't keep me up to date on the market, even though I told you I'm going to sell in a year. Like, you're not going to lose them. What you're going to start doing now is nurturing them. So over time, when that year comes up and they're ready to list, you are their realtor. That's why I say this, you're not going to get a check within a month or 2 from this. This is if you want to start the legwork and you want to build your pipeline, so that way at one point you just have all these listings popping off. Sergio, I usually don't pick those up, Rachel, for that reason. It's crazy. Sergio, I would recommend you answer sometimes, but you don't have to talk to them. Just legit answer, put it on mute, and like put your phone down. Don't even say a thing. Or like answer and just be like, oh no, it was wrong number, and just hang up on them. Or sometimes I'm like, yeah, did you want to sell your house? And a lot of the times they'll just be a wrong number. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, Ashley. And they're like, who? I'm like, oh, you're not Ashley. I was looking for Ashley. Who's Ashley? And I'm like, oh no, just like have a quick conversation and just like end it. But if they really are crazy, I block them. I just block them. I'm like, I'm never calling them again. And I'll go into like my Mojo if they're really crazy, because I do get those super crazy ones. I'll go on Mojo and just delete them. I have noticed, speaking to a lot of realtors, they want to do the least amount of work and get the most amount of profit. I will tell you, we get really big commission checks. And I think it's only right and only fair to do right by the homeowner. I don't like those automated market reports. I've done it before and I got burned and I lost listings through that. So that's why I manually send market reports, and the homeowners can tell the difference. Automated market reports that get sent it says how much their home is worth. I never tell a homeowner how much their home is worth until we're talking about what we're going to list the price at for, like when we're listing it. My leads don't fall through the cracks because I'm manually like massaging, nurturing every lead all the way through. Yeah, I had to block her. She was going off. Yeah, perfect. And move on. Honestly, you'll just get such tough skin doing this for so long. It's like, whatever next. I don't really do CMAs anymore. A CMA is a comparative market analysis, right? And I used to do, where you do like your actives, your pendings, your solds, whatever, and then you tell them roughly like how much it could possibly sell for. And it's like this whole big marketing, beautiful packet, blah, blah, blah. I just stopped that. I trimmed it all down. And what's amazing is, because I nurture people and keep them as a homeowner up to date on the market, when I actually go to meet with them and take the listing, they already know what's happening in the market. They already know the sales. I know the sales. And I just take them a copy of like maybe the fresh. And then we just talk about it. I'm like, okay, well, we can list at this price or this price, but there's never anything really in writing. It's just kind of more verbal. And then it's just filling out the listing paperwork. And then we just like fill in what price they want to do. And that's kind of it. For me, if I get a call back, I say, I realized I had the wrong number and hung up. No need to converse after that. Boom. Thanks, Nancy. Love that. Thank you. And look, she's answering because it actually helped. Home Advantage. How does the dialer work? Using RedX, no dialer as of now. I never did RedX. I don't really know RedX, but Mojo, shh, keep it down. Mojo, you can have single line dialer, 2-line dialer, 3-line dialer. I love my favorite is 2-line dialer, but I'm using single line. And just so you guys know, I have a little like, maybe it's all made up in my head, but just from knowing a lot about the telecom or telecommunications industry, they look for inconsistencies so that you know you're a human being and not a robot, right? Like in computer. So I like to switch it up where I'm doing single line, I'm doing double, I'm doing triple. So, but 3 days I've been doing single. And if you guys have been watching me, I actually prefer double. And then what Nancy and Rachel did is answering the phone, like Nancy says, and just answering, because if you're FTC, they're not here to prevent us from making or having a business. They're not here from preventing us from providing for our family. They're just trying to protect the consumer from all the fraud. So when we actually answer our phone, it legitimizes that we're a business. So that's why, I like to answer sometimes. So at home, taking my pre-license course in New Jersey. I used to live in Florida. Nice. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. Maybe in the future we can link if I'm ever back in Hallandale Beach. Oh, Hallandale. Okay, cool. Good luck today. Thanks. Mojo is great for good. I agree with Nancy because she is experienced as well. And I would just say at least the ratio of like where you get good numbers. I still get wrong numbers. Like you guys will hear me in all my lives. I still get wrong numbers, but the percentage is lower, I would say, with Mojo. Home Advantage said, thanks, Nancy. Sneaky Sort. Hello, Adela. I found your channel through my recommendation page. Consistently cold calling and generating my own real estate leads by circle prospecting. I would say consistently cold calling since September 6, 2023. And in case you guys are wondering why I know that date so specifically, it's because that was the day I hired my 5th inside sales agent because all the other ones weren't working out. And she was my long lasting one. I had her for 6 months. And I remember writing it on my board, like September 6th, 2023 is the day I'm going to be consistent because I had to be a leader. It was the day I was onboarding her, and her and I cold called together for 6 weeks, like virtually like this. And we would cold call. And then obviously she would just cold call for me and I would cold call, and I was running around doing listings or whatever. But I remember I was like consistent since that day, cold calling. So circle prospecting like this is great because you could do it anytime. My favorite time to call is generally either 10 to 12, 2 to 4, or 4 to 6. Lately, I've been doing a lot more 4 to 6 for my lives. So I do a lot more of my follow-up earlier in the day and then just like running around doing my business, meeting with clients, listing appointments, showings, photos, videos. I'm Rachel Burfield with Location Real Estate. I hope to be at 800 a single agent someday. That's impressive. Yes. Although James, we lost him. He didn't really share where he was from other than Colorado Springs. With Mojo, will your phone number show up or is it a Mojo number? It's a Mojo number, but I would highly recommend to make sure to whitelist it through Mojo the way that they recommend. So depending on the cell phone carriers, it will show. I forget what mine says. I don't know if it's like my first initial last name and then REA, or my first name and then my last name REA, or whatever it is. Because I have had people, they'll like be on the phone with me and then I guess they like look at their phone and they read it to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. So it actually gives you a higher, I would assume, a higher pick-up rate because they see like an actual name. And I've actually had people say, oh, I must know you because for some reason you're already on my phone, like your caller ID showed up. So it will be the Mojo number, but not my personal phone number. Blair. Okay, great. Blair. I'll call you Blair. It's fine. I can be called Lady Noelle on here. No, I'll remember that, Blair. They have no South Florida zip codes left on Mojo. I'm thinking of just getting a second phone. I know what you mean. When I went on Mojo, they did not have my area code either. So I temporarily had like a Boca area code number. But what's interesting is they cycle through them and sometimes they get new ones and sometimes like realtors cancel their subscriptions. Yeah, I figured area codes. And so I've over time been able to pick up the phone numbers, but I would say if you can maybe at least get closer to, because I think you're what, 786 or 305. And I think there might be another one, unless it's just those two. But if you don't get that one, like say you get a 954 like me, you can always go on Mojo and I would say like check every day or every week and try and like pick one because it changes all the time. I've even done it where like in the morning I looked and then later in the afternoon there was one available. So they're constantly cycling through the numbers if you can't get one. Are you able to link your cell phone number to Mojo when you call out? Yeah, you can actually. I do that. I did do it. I don't really use it anymore, but you can. So I did at one point hook up my work cell number to Mojo because I was like, I'm going to be efficient. I'm just going to do my follow-ups through Mojo. And I was just doing like one by one, like the click to call and the follow-ups. But then I just started really realizing I don't actually have to call every single person every single time on the follow-ups. Like just because we get them through cold calling doesn't mean they always want to talk to us every single time. So that's why I started integrating like texting, the handwritten note cards, as well as email into my follow-up process because it's also like I don't want to just be chasing them and feeling like pushy just to like talk to them again. Then I just started realizing, you know what? I need to start taking care of them. I need to start letting them know what's going on in their neighborhood or in their condo building. It's my job as a professional to keep them up to date and also see if there's anything that they need, whether it's like a vendor, like a painter, electrician, and then just naturally nurture them that way. So then I just don't do it anymore. So I just hand dial them now. So you can, I just did it and now don't do it. And so if I do actually want to talk to someone, I'm faster because instead of the click to call, I can just manually call them, if that makes sense. But that's only because I have two cell phones. I don't expect anybody to have two cell phones. It wasn't really a huge additional cost for me because on my plan, I already had a free line. It was just a matter of the phone. And it was just really the cost of the phone. I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just pay it off after 2 years or whatever. Oh, great question, Anita.
You've reached Carlin. Leave me a message.
Adela, any tips on how to feel confident with listings if you're not super experienced? I've done a couple of rental listings and one home listing, but that's it. Well, that's actually terrific. So first and foremost, I take rental listings as well, and I do count them as listings because at the end of the day, they're still listings, right? Lease listings. I know you're in the Dallas area. For myself, like our leases are expensive. Like they're 3,000, 6,000, 4,500 a month. And if I get the tenant, which most tenants do, reach out to the listing agent, I get the full month. I'm like, how am I not going to count a $6,000 check or a $4,500 check as a transaction? So this is one thing I started saying because I was with a traditional brokerage and I remember getting a lease listing or a couple lease listings, and they didn't put it towards my transactions or volume or GCI. And I was like, well, how's that fair? Like at that time, I think I had brought in like, how much was it? Maybe it was like $12,000 in GCI, and it was 2 or 3 transactions. Maybe it was 3 transactions. And they're like, oh, you didn't do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but what about the leases? They're like, oh, those don't count. I'm like, money is money. How does it not count? So first and foremost, I would just like to say, for myself, I give myself credit for rental listings because number one, I still have to do photos, I still have to show, I still have to do lease, I still have to negotiate, which is crazy that you have to negotiate things on a rental listing, but you do. So I take that as a listing. And because of my area, those owners sometimes want to then sell the property. So how can I push them off to a different realtor? Of course, I'm going to take the listing and then after that rental, then sell the house for them. But in terms of confidence, I wouldn't say feel confident. I would actually say feel disconnected from the listing, meaning don't expect much. Don't expect to walk in there and get the listing because if you go in there expecting you're going to get the listing, they can sense it, believe it or not. And especially if you're to call FSBOs and expireds and there's a bunch of other realtors, they start feeling that from the realtors, like, oh my God, I'm going to get this listing. And then they're like very aggressive about it. And it really puts off sellers. So if you're actually way more nonchalant, like kind of not that you don't care, but you're just there to help them and guide them and give them as much advice as possible without expecting anything return, they actually like that. One of the greatest things you can start learning to also feel more confident and the sellers realize that you are a professional is asking a bunch of questions. So I know Chanel, she was going on some condo listing appointments. So for her, it's just educating yourself. I don't actually, Anita, can you let me know, do you do condos as well, or is it just houses? Because if it's not condos, then I'll just kind of skip that. But I would say the other difference for myself in terms of like going into a listing appointment, FSBOs expireds is totally different than circle prospecting because when you actually do a circle prospecting listing appointment, you've already been talking to them for 7 months. Like it's not even about being confident at that point. Like you guys know each other at that point, which makes it super easy for me to get listings now, as well as why they call me and they're like, Adela, can you come over? We need you to tell us how much we should sell it for and what we need to do before we list it. Like we're ready to go. So it's not even like feeling confident because then it's like you know them. I understand you're saying you're not super experienced, but I will tell you if you've already done rental listings and one home listing, you are experienced. Then it just becomes a point of skill, like learning what kind of questions to ask when you're at a listing appointment. And it really goes deeper than the just like what's the age of the roof, what's the age of the water heater, what's the age of the AC. It's more like, um, you know, when was the last time have you done an inspection? When was the last time you did an inspection? Anything, major that I should be aware about? When you did, and they'll start telling you about their electrical panel, they'll start telling you about the bathroom renovations, the kitchens. At that point, I'm like, did you do it with permit? And then they kind of get a little like hesitant, like, ah, shit, she's calling us out on the permits. And they'll be like, no, I didn't do it with permit. I'm like, okay. And then I kind of educate them about like the buyer market, buying with permit, the problems that they can probably foresee because they didn't do it with a permit. Like that, I don't know, it just kind of goes deeper, I would say, when it comes to a listing appointment. And that is through experience. But if you want to get maybe some more experience, I would recommend go to open houses and start talking to the listing agent at the open house and start asking them questions and maybe start figuring out what kind of questions you should be asking when you're actually touring a home. Because they'll be like, oh, this is this and this is that. And then you can ask them, like, well, tell me more about that. Or even get used to the materials. You guys really have to educate yourselves on the materials and what your home construction is. So I can tell you what travertine is compared to marble, compared to ceramic, compared to quartz, compared to granite. Um, but that's all just from experience, as well as like for me, I'm in South Florida. So for me, it's like the different types of hurricane impact windows, the names of the types of shapes that the tile is. I'm like, is it an S tile? Is it a barrel tile? Is it a flat tile? Is it cement? They're all cement. Is it metal? Is it the aluminum, newer roofs, shingles, all those kinds of materials. So then even you can walk around the house, be like, oh, is this granite? And you're right. They're like, yeah, it's granite. You're like, yeah, oh, is this porcelain tile? Is this? Oh, you flatten the walls. Oh, I see you have the crown molding, the baseboards, the blinds, the window treatments, the lighting, the recessed lighting. When was the last time you did the AC duct work? Those are the words you need to start educating yourself, I would say. And that maybe you can come across more experienced. I don't know if any of this was helpful. I'm just saying everything that I know and what I do. So hopefully you can take some little golden nuggets from that.